What's good? Welcome to this Afro Sundays from Uganda. I'm here with my brother from another mother, Oshay Duke Jackson. Man, appreciate you having the time for me, man. It's been a long time coming.
Right.
And I just kind of want to talk about, a few things, man, but I want to just kind of go back to the 80s, man.
Okay.
Because we're both 80 babies.
Right.
Born in the same year.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I see you talk about on your platforms, you're very in touch with Black America, Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew up in the same era.
Mm-hmm.
You being from the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the Midwest originally. So just kind of want to, for those that don't know, introduce yourself, where you're from, and we'll kind of go from there.
So Oshay Duke Jackson, I'm from California. I was born in Los Angeles County in Linwood, and I moved, back and forth between Sacramento. So I was raised in both Southern California and Northern California. I'm a content creator. Okay. Went to medical school, graduated, decided not to practice, like content creation more, living in Uganda.
Okay. Sounds good. So growing up in the West Coast, have you lived in any other parts of the U.S. or?
When I was in college, I lived in D.C. for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, but mainly on the West Coast.
Okay. So I want to first kind of talk about just understanding the culture, because I kind of feel like us being born in the 80s, we kind of aware of our great-grandparents' era in like the 60s. We kind of understand like some of the things that was going on there. And then, during the 80s, 90s, where we probably went to middle school, high school, and the present. So I feel like we still have a lot of history knowledge, and then also modern knowledge. Whereas, people that was born in the 90s or 2000s, they don't really know the back history. So,
right.
So how is it being an 80s baby?
Yeah.
And understanding, growing up watching TV shows like Martin.
Yeah.
Understanding talk shows like Oprah, and understanding how
Donahue.
Right. How the media made men look, and
right.
how we view things. Just kind of talk about just growing up being an 80s baby.
So growing up in the 80s, I grew up, I think, in the last generation of where we saw Medeas. Now our grandmothers is like 40, you know what I mean? But at that time, most of your grandmother and your mother had some understanding of the Jim Crow South. Right. And even some of our parents, my parents was not born in California. My parents was born in Louisiana. Okay. So they came in the Great Migration during the 50s. Right. And then and from that, there was a lot of, understanding of people like James Brown, right. Curtis Mayfield, the Shy-Lights, right. Folks like Isaac Hayes. Right. So that also was ingratiated into you at the same time. Right. But then really at this time, most kids grew up in some form of Black church. Right. And we got to see the elements of the community dying down to the point where if your neighbor across the street say, "I'm going to tell your daddy," right. then you knew that, I'm in trouble, or I'm going to call your grandma. Right. You yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. And, you still had a lot of that in you. Right. And people could, won't say your neighbor would whip you at that particular time in that part of it, but they could tell your grandmother or somebody like that, and you would be afraid. You had to respect people. Right. TV shows, and of course, at that time coming up, most of us, marriage was important. Right. It wasn't more important than it is now. Right. My father was addicted to crack cocaine, but even though they was married, my dad would never do that like in the house. Like he would at least go out and do it. And then for us, it was important, at least in my household, that you go out and do something, come back and serve the Black community, go to the Black church, have a Black wife. Right. Those are things that was important. And the way that men were put out on TV, like the Al Bundy. Right. We would have reruns where we could see, Nick at Night, where you would have the what was it, the Lucy show, right? Yeah. You got to see Andy Griffith, Leave It to Beaver. So not only were you seeing TV shows in today, the Sanford and Son, Good Times. So we saw reruns of that. And you saw a strong male father figure, white or black. And, you know, that person had challenges in the family. And in that episode, somehow, about the episode, he would figure out how to solve it. And men at this particular time, you know, even growing up, you know, like I said, when I would fall off the bike, my dad would say, you know, get up and get back on the bike. You know, you get into a fight at school. It wasn't if you won. No, if you won or lost, did you fight back? Right. And if you didn't fight back, I'm going to whoop you and we're going to go back up there and you're going to fight again. That was kind of my attitude at that time. So, and then I got to see one last thing. And one of the reasons why I'm the kind of brother I am today, I saw a lot of older black men that would speak to one another. It was very important at that time. You know, now brothers is, you know, that was kind of my generation, kind of the mean mugging thing. But I would see black men just talking, how you doing? I saw a lot of older black men that had a heart trying to teach young men how to do things. Football, basketball, boxing. You know, a lot of brothers wanted to, you know, give back to the community in some kind of way. And they were very good at working with other men. Whereas today now, even though we saw that, guys our age and younger, we don't have no real camaraderie with other men. That's true. And you know, first disagreement come around and that's it. We don't have no level of problem solving something. But you know, and then you have some level of elders that would come in and try to mitigate something. So if me and you get into a problem, you know, Negro today, it could have a camera phone trying to, instead of trying to, let's try to get these brothers to work something out. You know, and that's what's missing today. So those are kind of the key elements that I saw when I was coming up and when you would see men trying to help each other. And now you don't really see that. And then you see a lot of the men hyper masculine, can't make good decisions, things like that. Can't build.
So watching you on YouTube, and you know, we grew up in an era of roasting. High school, like, I ain't gonna lie, like I'm still black as hell. But being in Uganda, I'm not as black as you. But I was black as hell, so I was called African and all that. So I had to have thick skin. So I learned how to roast at a young age. In high school, middle school, that's where we roast. So you have a good sense of humor, man. Were you a roaster?
I was getting cooked. I was getting cooked every day. A lot. So I said, man, this shit gotta stop. And so I start firing back, because it's like, oh, you like, you're hella black, you're African booty scratch. Oh, that's okay. So, when I started, that's how I got good, but, you don't take those things. I actually thank God because, when you get out there in the real world and, you face some of those things, you're more or less ready for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, they used to get me, bro. Like I had a little shady flat top like Robert Pack. Do you remember him from the Denver Nuggets back in the day? Yeah, man, I had that. Man, they used to kill me and kill my flat top, man. And my grandma, she fucked around and gave me a perm and a curl at the same time, man, and didn't give me enough activator. I used to be at the water fountain trying to get my perm together. It was dry. You have a perm and it's dry. That shit be hot. Man.
Was Cali dudes funny?
Hell yeah, they funny. What you mean, are they funny? Yes. As fuck. The niggas is crazy. Absolutely. There was a guy, shout out to my brother, there's a few dudes. There's one dude named Stephen Walton, but there's a dude that was really funny. His name was Ontario Smith. He's an NFL football player, running back. Okay. Man, he funny and he'll beat you up at the same time. You know what I mean? So I walked in the cafeteria, man, freshman year. He's like, man, hold on, man, who the fuck is ugly nigga right here, man? And then the whole cafeteria turned on and but yeah, man, he was funny. Another guy named Michael Guy. Man, we was in the car one night roasting. He said something funny to me, man. I almost wrecked the car, man. Like, I had to pull the car off. He got on me so good, man. I pulled the car over like twice. I was about to wreck the car. You know what I mean? And he was good. But some dudes on YouTube, man, funny too, man. Tariq Nasheed. is hilarious. He's hilarious. He's the guy I would say even funnier than me. But the best that I ever heard was Simple to P.
Okay.
Simple, rest in peace, Simple to P, man. Simple to P, he would call me, man. Shay, yeah, Shay, hold on. Bitch, I'm on the phone with Shay. You know what I mean? He was hilarious, bro. And man, him and Tariq is super funny. You know, because roasting, you gotta be creative.
Yeah.
So they say some stuff, man, and you be like, man, how did he put that together? You know what I mean? But yeah, California dudes, man, for sure. They'll get you, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that that experience, man. It enhances you, and it works for you because you're a good roaster.
Yeah.
You know,
people don't know that because I kind of changed it up. But if I go live, I'm gonna get you.
You can throw them jabs, man.
For sure.
Yeah, speaking on Tariq, so I did want to kind of talk about how I kind of came across you on YouTube. When I first started watching YouTube, I would say the first people that people just say, check out, man, you need to check out Tommy, you need to check out Tariq Nasheed. And, you know, I really wasn't big on like their content per se, but that was kind of like my first start on YouTube. But then I noticed, you know, Oshay Duke Jackson trolling these niggas.
yeah. It's a troll a little bit. Yeah.
So you came up in the algorithm a lot of times. And you know, that's when I first kind of started noticing you. Yeah. You growing like trolling and roasting these niggas. So was that part of the strategy? Was that just fun? And how did that come into play?
So I used to respond like Tommy. I think I said something about Tariq and pro blacks before, like a long time ago. But the person that I really came on YouTube to troll was a Mad Bus Driver X.
Okay.
That's the person that I got on YouTube just so that I could, you know what I mean? I wasn't even taking YouTube serious or anything like that. Of course, when you don't have no views, yeah, you just, you know, trying to get some attention or whatever. But I never intended on even being a YouTuber at all. Like, I wasn't going to be a medical doctor. That was, you know, I was just bored or whatever. So my real biggest beef was between Filoshko versus the world. Philco versus the world. I don't know if you remember him. No. So he was a black dude living out in Russia, and he tried to roast me, bro, and it didn't really work out too well for him. So that kind of ended, I won't say his career, but he took a big L after that. But but shout out to him. But I mean, like, basically the dudes that are like maybe you disagreeing with, it's people still I disagree with. It was never nothing personal because I when I was in medical school, I had 2,000 subscribers for the first 30 months on YouTube. I wasn't trying to grow on YouTube. I was just, whenever I would make a video, that'd be it. Yeah, but no, that is a part of when you're a newer YouTuber. Yeah, you know, you're trying to, you know, talk about somebody that you feel like is full of shit or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's just it. But I mean, even them YouTubers, even Tommy, I don't really like Tommy that much. But, you know, Tommy is a talented guy. I won't take that from him. Tariq, you know what I mean? Like, we don't agree on everything, but I like Tariq. I'm a fan of Tariq. You know, we have a difference of opinion in the Pan-African world thing. You know what I'm saying? But I understand where he's coming from because their days here, I feel the same way that he might feel in certain elements. But that don't mean that everybody is like that. But man, a lot of those guys are talented. But you know, sometimes somebody, especially Tommy, man, he would say something that where you feel like he's hypocritical, like, you know, set up a GoFundMe for Fatherless America, and this jigga end up with 2 or 3 more kids from his subscribers and stuff like that. Yeah, man. So of course somebody gonna say something about it. You know what I mean? A lot of the guys do silly stuff to where you can't help but report on. Like, let's say Hassan Campbell. You know Hassan Campbell, right?
Yeah.
I don't have nothing against Hassan Campbell. I don't know the guy. But Hassan Campbell do stupid shit. So you don't have no choice but to say something about it. Because it's like, how are you that dumb? So then people be like, you hating on me, whatever. No, some people be hating, but some of these YouTubers do crazy. Like Tommy back in the day, he would do stupid shit all the time, bro. Like, remember that time he cussed a lady out from in Dallas?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Then he would have like, you know, the brother was on there doing all kind of porn on the. He'll be talking about BT 1000s, and he'd be in relationships with him. So of course you're gonna say something about that because it don't make no sense.
Right.
You know, yeah. So that's just, but yeah, it is a part of the strategy a little bit if you like serious, but usually you got to be good and add more value, because if you're just talking about them, then you can't grow. Right. I got over 200 and something million views on YouTube my career. So, you know, you can't just last talking about Tommy or Tariq or Kevin Samuels or whoever else is popping. Right. You know what I mean? But
so is it fair game when new guys come and you're the Tariq and they're the Oshay roasting?
Man, they be killing me. Yeah, man. I done seen some dudes, man. Hey, I just go in there and just like, this one dude, man, he ethered me for about a good 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So I went over there, I commented, man, this is a good video. I think I even shared the video, you know? And we ended up being cool after that. You know, I know it's not personal. Yeah.
Now that's good. Most of the time, when I realize it's not really personal, guys just trying to get attention. So,
yeah.
So what I noticed from your transition from early roasting and growing, I noticed that you were connected heavily with a lot of the travel community. So how did you get in the travel community? Like how did the relationships start?
So basically, I was, and people might not like me saying that, one of the de facto, if not considered the de facto leader of what was known as the Black Manosphere for many years. Right. So I was the guy that brought and worked with everybody. Right. So we talk about Kevin Samuels, that was me. Right. The lead attorney, pocket watching with JT. Right. You know, shout out to Soul TV 84. He was really big in there, and Obsidian. You know, Angry Man was one of the people there. But as far as working with people a lot, that was me. Working with people. So the people like Aaron Ferris from BMT, Black Male Strap, he wasn't even on YouTube at the time. So I ended up making a relationship with Charles Taylor, or Charles Tyler rather. So I noticed that within this Black Manosphere thing, which was before hashtag Passport Bros came out, which I think BMT was the first person to put that out there. I don't know. I think he's at least one of the.
He's definitely in the forefront of that.
Yeah. So I noticed that here you had a lot of Black men who were disgruntled, a lot, when it came to dating American women. Right. And let me kind of go back to Brother Tariq Nasheed. Right. Tariq Nasheed, I believe in the early 2000s, went to Brazil. And Tariq Nasheed was kind of one of those guys, because Tommy wanted to get a lot of credit for being the progenitor to the Black Manosphere and things like that. Before him was Tariq Nasheed. Okay. So Tariq Nasheed was one of the brothers that wrote The Art of Macking, which I didn't know at the time, but Tariq was on Blog Talk Radio, and Tariq was one of the first people that owned video that you see have evidence talking about Brazil in the early 2000s, right? Before him was like Mr. John, you know, guys like that.
Al Grease, was he kind of before or after Tariq?
Al Grease was, let me say, as a documented filmmaker, which Tariq is too in his own right. But I think Tariq was more out publicly to the masses as a influencer, if you can say. And Al Grease was a filmmaker. So Al Grease's work is what got Charles Tyler interested into Brazil. Right. And so, but I noticed the trend of so many Black men just wanting to do something different. Now, at the time, I ended up going to Poland for medical school, but I didn't go over to travel anywhere. I was forced to go there because I wasn't that serious. I had to go as a medical student to Poland. So I started noticing there was so many Black men, because, you know, the internet, you meet so many Black men that I would never meet in my city. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, the brothers you meet on the internet are a lot different than a Black man I would meet in Sacramento. Right. You know what I mean? So the brothers on the internet have different experiences. They talk about it. They document these things. So whenever I wanted to, like, how do you survive in Poland, Black in Poland, that's how I came across Philco versus the World, who had been to Poland. So I noticed a trend of Black men, like, not liking what they were seeing in the States. So then a lot of those brothers just happened because we were talking about black male issues. They will say, well, by the way, I went to Colombia. By the way, I went to Brazil. By the way, I went to... Now what we're talking about now, like you in South Africa or me in Uganda, that wasn't really on the scope yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't until later that guys like me, Austin Holloman, you know, people shed a light on the continent, but it was just and it's still a big thing. A lot of black men was just disgruntled there. And when that frustrated thing came out, it was like, it was an eye opener to a lot of niggas. Like, it was like, damn, man, like brothers is out here getting it like that. And then for the men that still like black women, let me just say this, man. I know I'm ranting, but you know, a lot of us, me and Donovan Sharp was cool, right? I talked to him when we were still friendly. I came to Uganda. I said, Donovan, man, this place, I've never seen women so soft and so feminine in my life. He said, black women are feminine in Uganda? I said, yes. He says, wait a minute, you met black women that were actually feminine? I said, yeah. He said, bullshit, it's no way, right? Wow. And a lot of guys just didn't know. And when I went to Brazil, I saw women just as dark as some of them here. And natural hair, no weaves, especially in Brazil. So I just thought it was like a big issue. And a lot of at the time, the passport bro community wasn't developed. So we all in the black manosphere was just in the black manosphere. Now where the passport bros is probably bigger than the black manosphere, although their roots are in the black manosphere. So, and now the passport bro guys are leading the conversation where before the black manosphere, before it was the Obsidian, the everyday brother, the black man who wasn't getting any respect. That was with a lot of the passport bros, because they were everyday guys that were just going someplace else. Now the passport bros got celebrities talking about them. White boys talking about them.
Rap songs now.
Rap songs, yeah. Who was it?
J. Cole.
J. Cole. So they superseded our group, although they were there. But yeah, those sentiments were there, man. And so many guys like Ronan the Traveler, you ever heard of him before?
Yeah.
A guy like that who was married, divorced, you know, just was able to go across there and experience things like that. So that's kind of how it happened, because they were just watching us. And then they started creating their own content, which then we became fans of ourselves. Yeah.
That's I could definitely see that. You know what I mean? So basically, a lot of the travel guys, before we really started traveling, the only black creators was like you, Tariq, Tommy, and others. And then once we became creators, you guys started, paying attention to what we're doing in the travel community. But like you said, it's still all under the black man.
Yeah. It's still under, because, for sure.
So, want to ask, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
So short-term, like I said, we have our studio here in Uganda, Kinganda Studios. So, we have like one of the largest podcasts in Africa. I got the Pan-African Dating Show. So basically just trying to take it day by day to improve what we do and get better as an owner and just day-to-day operations. Because we have some people that came into the system and, they had some time to develop and just things like that. Long-term goals as a studio, I think I want to have to be able to create TV shows in our studio, ads in our studio, to be able to branch off into like events. We did a speed networking event. I thought it was really good, really interesting. Speed dating events. So I wanted to also be able to do experiences in like TV shows, like feature films eventually. You know what I mean? Just and just kind of bring the diaspora and make that connection between Africa and the diaspora. In particular, African American, because which is what I am. But anybody else, just keep finding the talent, that keeps building that bridge between the both of us.
Okay.
As a community, I think we do that. We can't lose. Right. We got some of the most opportunity, most money making, and we can really develop our group if we can do that. So I want to move into the long term, like as a production house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of things for your companies. I see the vision. I definitely want to be a part of helping with the vision, ideas, connections, because I have people that are in Ethiopia working with the African Union. They're at the table trying to get African Americans or diaspora a seat at the African Union.
Okay.
And that is something that we need to do as a collective to push, because we have a seat at the table at the African Union. You know what I mean? We can start talking about repatriation,
right?
Visas, residency, land which Africans are uncomfortable about.
So it's a very touchy conversation.
You know, they don't.
Some people are like, yeah, give it to them. Some people are like, no.
But if we can get the passports, citizenship, that is, that would be a move in the right direction.
Yeah.
So 2 more things I want to kind of ask you.
Mm-hmm.
The first is, what makes you be so helpful to up and coming creators? Not a hater. You've helped people that even surpass you in some ways.
Oh yeah, killing me.
You know. And so what differentiates you from other Black men? Because we the biggest haters amongst each other and anything. You know, so what makes you so helpful with so many people, man, and not really caring about if a person pass you up, or because that's the Black mentality, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I feel like it's enough opportunity for everybody, and just because somebody's doing better than me, it's not gonna hurt me,
right?
I'm not intimidated by anybody,
right?
And Kevin was the greatest talent that I had actually ever discovered. He was way better than me. Like leaps, he's passed away. He's still better than me, and I'm living. Right. You know what I mean? So I just never felt like, in fact, it just made me better because he gave me information. He saw things I didn't see. And so I didn't feel any way about that. I felt like it made me better to be a part of that community. But so many, and also I'm a giving person by nature. Right. It's just the way that I am. So I don't feel like I need to, even you, when you came in and we went through some things on YouTube, it's just good to have the knowledge out there because you want to do something on YouTube. I never charge somebody for information or nothing. So the way that I am. Right. But also everybody has to have some level of community because when you're a good person, people want to be good to you. Right. And so many guys just, they want the world to serve them. But one thing I've learned in my life is about people. Right. And at the very, very base root of it all, undergirded in that is life is about people. Right. So helping people and loving people and, just not hating on other people, because I don't understand why that's important. Right. But people usually, not all the time, but usually when you invest in people is the best investment you can make. Exactly. So it comes back. And especially when you're a guy that might want to live overseas, some brothers in America, you can be very individualistic and you don't need help. But if you ever decide you want to come over here, you need the people, right? And, but you need people anywhere. Right. And so it's just good to be working with people, working within the community, because you can't ever get it all by yourself. Exactly. You need somebody to help you do this and somebody to help you do that. And, and it's just life is easier. Right. Life is easier like that. So for me, I try to, and when I started in solo TV before he helped me a little bit that's why I always called him my big bro. Mm-hmm. And I try to do the same thing, man. We as Black men, we leave so many opportunities on the table because we don't want to help each other because we feel like, and we lose a lot of opportunity to, let's say like the Black male entertainment industry. It could be billions of dollars. We will never know because we don't work together enough to even execute what it could be. But if we could, man, then that money can be reinvested into finding other people. Because a lot of times, let's say in Uganda, one of the biggest things that happens here is the person that has talent can't be discovered because they don't have the resources there. Like I know a kid, I was telling you about him, Agre. He's a guy that, what his life had been like a year ago if, we didn't cross paths. But now, in just 1 year, he's really elevated his game. He can be a real big deal for the country. But if if I didn't know him and he didn't know me, all that talent and skill would have been lost. So nobody would have been able to benefit from it. Right. The country itself, whoever would come after him. And a lot of black men, when we don't help each other or hire each other, right. that talent that a black man will come into an industry and say, here's the hole in the business that we can plug. Right. And here's what we can do. And then if we would go with that, but because that person doesn't work with us or they work for a white person or whatever, we lose that opportunity to amplify right. those results that might be, 1 or 2% this year, but in 10 years, it might be 4,000 or 5,000% return because we figured out something else. Right. So then all of that money that we would get to bring in another brother or another sister, we lose all of that opportunity because we just didn't work together. So we don't know what would happen because now right. it's gone. Versus if you're able to execute that. Right. Now, with us executing that, we can get a lot of return. Right. And now we're at the same level as the Indians or the Singapore or Arabs. And now we can control our own destiny because we have that. Nobody says it's going to be easy. Right. Of course, you're going to have bickering, arguing, and fighting and stuff. Right. But that's where somebody, an elder statesman can come in and say, okay, look, yeah, let's get these people together and get them to whatever. Right. Let's bring it back together and get it together. So I just see the vision, man. We better together than apart. Right. Yeah. And if we can stick together, then we can build something that can benefit everybody. Because as a black man, you should be able to benefit off of my work. I should be able to benefit off of your work. Exactly. And then that profit could go back into the community and somebody else will be able to benefit. And then people will be incentivized to come. Let me give you an example I'm talking about. SPK Speaks. Yeah. I was doing this little skit called Strugglewood in Africa. It was like a little comedy thing. Yeah, I was... Actually, he's the one that came up with all that stuff. Okay. Him and Kim the comic. They had me going on wearing wigs and stuff all around Africa looking crazy. Mm-hmm. So once we did that, SPK said, man, I want to come to Uganda and be a part of what y'all doing. Mm-hmm. So he flew here. And then from there came two other things, my reaction content and this podcast mm-hmm. that you was on, mm-hmm. the Repat podcast, which that has became a great asset for us in the company. But if he wouldn't have came, we wouldn't have set it up the right way. Mm. And then when I wanted a template for it, we wouldn't have it. But because he came and keeping him in the business has helped us tremendously. Right. We flourished. Right. So with black men, just have to understand how to put that ego aside. Of course, you're going to have problems as men. We're going to challenge each other as men. Right. But then at the end of the day, okay, now, if we don't do it, then we all lose because the opportunity can't be reached. It may take us 3 or 4 or 5 years to get there. Right. But once you're there, you all there. Right. Now, if we're going to start fighting after that, at least get to where you win. Right. Then you can fight. Right. And then, but if you can't get there and you're fighting, that's different. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, man. Like relationship building, you have a good eye for talent. Even, you noticed me traveling to South Africa. You reached out to me, man. Like, hey, man, that things like that mean a lot. And me wanting to come down here, it ain't cheap, but I value the relationship so much that I said I want to come here to link with my brother, and and try to build. And like you said, we both can benefit from each other. So last thing I'm gonna ask is, marriage or children in the future for Oshay Duke Jackson?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Yes, it is. The thing with me was I was a relative. First of all, my mother and father got divorced in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So then, of course, that left me. My older brother had left and went on about his life, and so that left me to be the one to say, I want to step up and make sure that my mother has a great life. Right. I entered medical school at age 34, right? So then, you know, medical school takes a long time. So I ended up starting making some money by 36, 37. So then, you know, my mother wanted a house before she, you know, retired and all this. And so I've been basically trying to give back to the woman who gave me so much. Then, you know, when you're in business and things like that. But yes, definitely. I definitely want to ruin somebody's life, let them ruin mine. You know, for sure.
That's good, man. That's good, man. So, man, I appreciate your time, man. It will be a next time, man.
Yeah.
And
you only stay like 20 minutes. So,
but yeah, man, anytime, man, you know, you're able to pull up on Afro Sundays, man.
Yeah, I love to.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming. At first, you know, LAR Movement had came right before you did. So he pulled up at Entebbe Airport like, I'm here. I forgot he was here. I was so busy, like, you seen me and my schedule. So he was like, he here. And just like you pulled up, it was similar. And I couldn't get to you like maybe like a day or a half after you got here. It was the same thing with him. And, you know, I would just tell for guys, if they ever come to the continent, don't do what these guys did, man. Stay like 4 days, you know. Try to stay like 10 days. Like, you know, J.R. Wisdom, these guys, 3-4 days in Africa, something like that. In Uganda, you need like 10 days minimum, 2 weeks minimum. That way, you know, you can go up to the north. You can go do Jinja. You can do the bunch, you know, all kind of fun stuff, man. But if you hear like, because, you know, you might be here for like a day or two. I can't get to you, you know what I mean? But if you come for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, one of my good friends, he stayed for a whole month. Okay. So he was here for a month. So he was just, you know, he was, after about a week or so, he just going out by himself. Dr. Ronald Neal was here for about, you know him, Dr. Ronald Neal? No. Dr. Ronald Neal was here for about a week. Okay. Yeah, so he'd be back in Nairobi soon. So he was here for a week, 10 days. Austin was here for 10 days, 10 days minimum. But if you're here for 10 days, I'll work something out for you.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, brother.
My brother from another mother. Peace out.